mobile marketing maturity. I would like to welcome the moderator for the session, Ms. Vasuta Agarwal, Managing Director, APAC, InMobi, and our speakers, Mr. Jayesh Ullattil, Vice President and General Manager, India, InMobi, and Mr. Navin Madhavan, VP and GM, Growth Marketing Platforms, InMobi. Welcome all of you. Over to you, Ms. Agarwal.
Thanks, Trishi. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. The topic that we are looking to cover in the next 45 minutes today is building resilient brands and how to thrive in the era of mobile. As we sit here today, I think everybody knows that 2020 was an absolutely unprecedented year in all shapes and forms. And with the pandemic sort of raging across the world, I think none of us expected to stay at home and work and operate the way that we did. In today's session, we will cover three sections. We will talk about the evolution of a digital hyper-connected global village. We will talk about how the era of mobile marketing maturity is shaping up and why it's important for brands to adopt the three M's if they are looking to build a resilient brand in the next year or so. And also how to sort of thrive in this era of mobile and what are some of the best practices and tools and trends to look out for as we get into 2021. So with that, let's talk about the first section and dive straight in. I think 2020 was the year of welcoming a mobile-first world order, with all of us sort of being at home, hunting for new information, longing to stay connected with our near and dear ones. Consumers relied on their one constant companion, which was mobile. And all around the globe, there was a significant increase in app downloads, time spent on mobile, and consumer spending on mobile. COVID-19 has truly catalyzed these trends, and most noticeable has been the transition to mobile at a pace which is a sort of a combined or equivalent of 3 to 4 years together. With over 321 million new internet users added last year, we have seen almost 4 trillion hours of engagement, averaging at about 4.2 hours per day spent on mobile at a user level. Similarly, if you see some of the other statistics on this slide, you'll see that almost $143 billion was spent on just App Store through different consumers, and $240 billion was mobile ad spend in 2020. So truly, the mobile economy has witnessed an unparalleled growth in 2020. Let's look at it closer to home and what the 2020 shift meant for India and how India is leading as a mobile first economy. India is one of the largest internet user bases in the world, which is set to only increase rapidly in the coming years. The pandemic has accelerated the growth of the country towards digital equality, with India contributing to 25% of all new internet users across the globe. The monthly active internet user base in India is estimated to have reached about 734 million internet users who are primarily accessing this on mobile. Almost 90 to 95% users actually access the internet in India on their mobile phones. And if you look at some of the other statistics here, you will see that in terms of even app downloads, 14% of the worldwide app downloads were driven by India. And we saw 300% sort of higher app download growth compared to the global average. Even in terms of data consumption, some of the numbers here that you see, for example, 11 GB of data consumption per user per month, which is a big jump, almost 30% year on year. And even in terms of time spent, we were higher than the global average, averaging about 4.8 hours a day. 4.2 hours that you saw on the previous slide. So all of these aspects around data consumption, around time spent, around the internet user base have really set us up for a mobile first consumer economy. Let's look at this interesting sort of shift which has happened, over the last decade, I would say, and gotten accelerated in the last year, which is the evolution of the mobile app economy in India. while last year specifically, everyone from the government to non-profit organizations to private enterprise, everyone was trying to beat the pandemic by building mobile apps and services for users. India also sort of led the charge on that, right? Right from government apps like Arogya Setu and MyGov to state government apps like Kova Punjab. Apps were being used to inform consumers, to create awareness, to engage people, and a lot of the things around location signals on the apps were a key lever to track progress and track the disease. And in addition to that, if you look at some of the categories here, a lot of the mobile first services for consumers also laid the foundation for the Indian app economy. Let's look at categories like health and fitness, shopping, entertainment. If you see over the last decade, some of these categories had fewer apps, and as the years have progressed, more and more services and apps have gotten added to each category as consumer needs continue to evolve. Last year especially, apps around daily essentials, grocery delivery, food delivery, all of these evolved because consumer preferences had changed, consumer point of sales had changed. So it was important for all of these apps to keep pace with that shifting consumer trend. And even for consumers, if you look at things like learning and education, health and fitness, these saw a massive shift in 2020. So everything is now available at the beck and call of consumers on simply the tap of your mobile phones. What were the big category gainers in 2020? If we were to dive into specific parts, let's look at the first category, which is hyperlocal commerce, which is shopping, food delivery, and hyperlocal delivery. As all of you would know, with the sort of work from home situation, with a lot of offline stores being shut and stepping out, being seen as very risky, a lot of the hyperlocal commerce apps thrived. Searches for grocery e-commerce grew by 160% in the April to July timeframe last year. Similarly, online food delivery, it saw almost a 6x growth in last year. And similarly, even medicine and pharma, those kind of things in terms of delivery, they saw 6 to 7x times growth. So really unparalleled growth when it comes to hyperlocal commerce. The second category was around entertainment. Now, entertainment, if you see, the face of entertainment has started changing. While earlier entertainment was only about OTT, new categories like short form videos and casual gaming got added to entertainment as a category. And we'll talk a little bit more about these in the subsequent slides. But again, the face of entertainment changed during the course of the pandemic. And lastly, the third category was around fintech and payments. 42% of users extensively use digital payments. This was through a survey, that was run last year, and which also goes on to show that how digital payments and fintech apps are really starting to sort of pick up in the country. So diving into three specific trends, let's talk about the first one, which is gaming has become the changing face of entertainment in the country. In 2020, the gaming industry grew at a lightning pace. There were almost 4.7 billion gamers across the world, and gaming revenue actually accounted for 48% of the worldwide revenue, even leaving behind PC and console gaming. So mobile gaming is really sort of starting to beat the charts. If you look at India specifically, and in the graph here, you will see that India recorded the highest growth of 35% year on year in terms of the number of games played each month by an average user. And now globally, 1 in 10 gamers across the world is actually from India. And 89% of Indian gamers are actually using their smartphone. So gaming has gotten truly democratized because of the smartphone. And you'll see that it has no sort of barrier in terms of age or gender. In terms of the profile of gamers that we see on our platform, we see that it is spread across age groups, it is spread across regions, and even interest groups. Typically, a mobile gamer tends to move across various apps from social networking to music to photo, entertainment, and so on. And they truly represent a variety of interests when it comes to mobile gaming. If the pace of change on gaming continues in this way, then gaming will become as mainstream as video streaming in the times to come. Let's look at the second trend. The second trend was around short form videos. And this, of course, happened because consumers found new ways to cope and unwind during the pandemic, right? Short, bite sized content and video became extremely, important for people to stay abreast on news, to entertain themselves, and to get a respite from, just the situation people were in. And these sort of bite-sized content sort of became those moments of joy in terms of, for engagement for people during the day. And the great part about short form videos was that while people were sort of locked in their houses because of the fact that they had this continuous access to high speed Wi-Fi or even 4G for that matter, they didn't just consume content. We also saw a democratization of content creation, right? Because all it required was a smartphone for people to create different genres of content. So right from health and fitness to showing off their culinary skills to humor and stand-up comedy or all kinds of basically content genres thrived in this era of short form videos. And it actually gave every individual a chance to pack content in this very bite sized and short form nuggets of content. So really, short form videos have become a form of just not just news but entertainment, and democratize the world of content for people. Let's look at the last, trend, and this I think is a shift which has been happening over the years and got accelerated last year. Was around mobile being used in the shopping journey of a consumer, and that of mobile commerce. In a survey that we ran last year during the festive season across India using the InMobi Pulse platform, what we saw is that mobile has sort of become the constant companion in a consumer shopping journey. And 63% of people actually use mobile to learn and discover products. 77% use it to explore, research, and create a point of view, compare things like pricing and features of the product. And 62% people are actually even using it to buy and make purchases, right? So, through the entire journey of the consumer, the mobile phone has become a constant source of information and engagement. And in a recent sort of BCG report from last year, what we saw is that the average number of categories bought online actually went up from 4 to 6 per user. And categories such as fresh food and staples actually saw an uptick of almost 40 to 50%. So clearly, mobile has become an important part of the user journey. Even when people are looking to do offline store pickups, they do use their mobile phone for that. So whether it's online or in store, mobile is the preferred companion and starting to form, the beginning and end of the entire consumer purchase journey. With that, we'll dive into the next section on the era of mobile marketing maturity. And I'll hand over to Jayesh to take it up from here.
Thank you, Vasuta. It's a pleasure to be at the Digital India Summit and an honor to be talking to you all. So to start off with, I'll just briefly be touching upon two major points, which is on the different stages of digital marketing maturity, and also the question that we need to ask ourselves on how much of mobile marketing maturity does our organization have. Uh, what a year it has been, 2020, right? COVID-19 has caused a major shift in the way consumers think, feel, and act, with market disruption dramatically shifting long-conditioned behavior in just a matter of weeks. Digital has become the primary mode in the way consumers choose to interact with the world. While a lot of organizations have been talking about digital disruption and transformation as buzzwords for more than 8 years, it actually took a pandemic to make them talk the walk. A lot of them walk the talk. Be it from an operational perspective to salvage their supply chain, or be it to think about welfare of employees in a virtual office, or to reach out to consumers beyond the physical space. 2020 has been a year of tremendous change. Similarly, brands and marketeers today are reevaluating their strategies to not only survive but thrive in a post-COVID world. What changes do brands need to bring to their marketing in the new normal? The answer is digital marketing maturity. The promise of digital marketing is great, but the practice is extremely hard. The buzzwords of digital marketing, customer journey, omni-channel, programmatic, and personalization have long been in and out of C-suites and corporate meetings and webinars and so on and so forth. But 2020 put every company that talks the digital talk to walk the digital walk. Quite obviously, the digitally marketing mature are very few. BCG states that digital marketing maturity is an organization's capacity in delivering seamless brand experiences and is characterized by 4 maturity levels: nascent, emerging, connected, and multi-moment. For a nascent brand, marketing campaigns mainly use external data and direct buys with limited linkages to sales or sales proxies. An emerging brand makes some use of own data in automated buying with single channel optimization and testing. The more evolved or connected brands rely on data integrated and activated across channels with demonstrated linkages for ROI or sales proxies. At the apex of digital marketing maturity are multi-moment brands. These brands optimize dynamic execution across channels towards single consumer business outcomes. So while BCG evaluated digital marketing maturity in 2019, we decided to take stocks of brands maturity in August, September 2020 while we were in the middle of the pandemic. According to our survey of senior marketing and media leaders from across close to 60 brands across India and Southeast Asia, we saw that brands were indeed short of walking the walk when it came to digital. As expected, e-commerce and BFSI segments lead the way when it comes to digital marketing maturity, emerging as the more connected and multi-moment focused categories. Over close to half of the marketeers characterized themselves as in nascent or emerging stage, leaving a large room for growth. Clearly, marketeers are trying to climb the digital curve, but the curve gets steeper as it rises, increasing the difficulty of moving to the next level, and multiple barriers hinder companies' efforts to achieve multi-moment maturity. Many organizations fail to make a full transition to digital as they try to force digital onto the current existing paradigms, or they refuse to make the tough decisions about processes which underpin a full digital transformation. Companies that climb the digital maturity curve, however, can achieve impressive results, reporting cost savings of up to 30% and revenue increases to the range of 20-25%. Brands that want to make that shift should expect a lengthy journey. It's not something which will happen overnight. Based on the survey, we found that the top priority for marketers in the early stages of digital marketing maturity remain broad and extremely aspirational, while the more seasoned and multi-moment marketers seek objectives that are highly actionable and drive incremental impact with each investment or activity. As you can see, the nascent DMM organizations start off being aspirational with the objective of building omni-channel experiences. However, the biggest reason they behave so is because the transition to digital involves changing how people work. It demands the active involvement and cooperation of internal and external stakeholders, technology-led or otherwise. According to the InMobi survey, emerging digital marketing mature brands are trying to come to grips with their current data situation and their ability or inability to turn data into actionable insights and campaigns. Data is the foundation for digital engagement and personalization, but many of them lack regular access to either data on customer level purchase behavior and characteristics or online metrics such as clicks on websites, page views, and conversations. At this stage, a meaningful transition is to start building on first-party data. Use always-on consumer surveys, accessing third-party data and cross-linkages. Furthermore, the journey should be towards building robust analytical capabilities that can turn data into plans, programs, and initiatives. Without such data-related capabilities, they have little hope of reaching the next stage, becoming connected. The third stage of the journey to digital maturity involves building the cross-functional connections that make digital organization work. Companies can demonstrate progress by starting to coordinate multiple channels, programmatic buying across different stages of the marketing funnel, utilizing the data which has been accumulated and analyzed, drive incremental values, and achieve efficiencies through their execution. Most successful companies establish cross-functional teams, which they will need in any event when they come to the next maturity stage, that combine the relevant expert disciplines, creative, content, operational, and mobile media, for example, and bring together offline chat and online marketing to work more closely together. According to BCG, for example, an auto OEM uses data-driven targeting and automated activation in a campaign that demonstrates various car configurations and delivers more than 6,000 automated creative treatments on the basis of consumer configuration preferences. The resulting ads have achieved conversion rates that are 4 times higher than those of traditional ads. This with double the efficiency. Closer Home, an e-com company, used DCO to serve close to 3 million custom creatives to consumers based on multiple defined parameters. The final stage of marketing maturity is the most difficult. It is acting on each customer touchpoint, consumer touchpoint, in a coordinated and sequential way. It involves integrating key proprietary capabilities into the organization and also embedding agile teaming, without which moving at digital speeds is virtually impossible. Moving on, as companies think about their digital marketing maturity through the new decade, it is critical that they traverse the maturity curve or journey with one thing and only one thing in mind: the consumers. Vasuta earlier spoke about how the overall shift has happened and talked about some mind-boggling numbers. All around the globe, there's been a significant increase in the number of app downloads, the time spent on mobile, and consumer spending on mobile. COVID-19 has actually catalyzed several trends, but most noticeably, it is the transition into a mobile-first world. 734 million, that's a number we need to take note of. In India, that is the number of people who are mobile-first on digital. As a mobile-first consumer economy, clearly in 2021, digital marketing maturity is equivalent to mobile marketing maturity. You can call it 3M if you want. And at this juncture, as a marketer, what I would ask you, are you ready? Are you in a phase where you are mobile marketing mature? That's a question that you need to ask. There are 4 questions that I would like to ask, or a marketer should ask themselves. And that should be your answer to that question. Are you aware of and leveraging mobile-first consumer intelligence and insights to drive your marketing decision-making? Do you have the right technology to provide connected consumers with a seamless mobile video experience? Are you, to put it simply, are your creatives mobile ready? Do you have the right technology stack to leverage data from multiple sources and thereby build personalized customer experiences? You have in-house or agency expertise with programmatic to maximize transparency and efficiency of your mobile marketing. As you ponder over these questions, I'll pass the baton on to my colleague Navin Madhavan, who will help you with actionable insights on building resilient brands and thriving in the era of mobile. Over to you.
Thank you, Jayesh. You've all heard about how being truly mature in digital marketing means that you'll have to think of mobile in a different fashion in the coming years. Through this next section, I'll walk you through a couple of best practices and examples of what we've seen brands do this year and likely to do in the coming years in terms of being really successful on mobile. According to a recent survey conducted by BCG on digital marketing maturity, 83% of marketers could not link data across consumer touchpoints. 68% still relied on manual processes and were not leveraging automation enough. 78% could not attribute value to their individual touchpoints across consumers, and 80% suffered from inadequate cross functional coordination to truly measure their digital marketing campaign success or failure. These are the challenges that every brand is facing today as they embark on this journey towards mobile marketing success. That's not to say that no brands have really thrived in this era of mobile. Even in a year as challenging as 2020, we've seen many brands really adapt to mobile and do it fantastically well in terms of talking to users on this medium. We've seen multiple brands as consumers talking to us directly through their website, facilitating purchases on their websites directly with us, thus building click to mortar capabilities. In addition, multiple brands have also rethought of experiences in a truly mobile first fashion, thus engaging with users when they want it and where they want it on their personal favorite smartphone devices. Over the last year, we've observed a few things that brands tend to do well when they execute campaigns well on mobile, and we'll talk you through some of those. There are four things which we've observed consistently. Most successful brands on mobile tend to leverage consumer intelligence in a truly mobile first fashion. They've also invested in mobile video as an opportunity and been talking to users through that format. Additionally, they've looked at programmatic as an opportunity, especially the in-app bucket, and seen what they could do to leverage that efficiently. Last, but definitely not the least, is to invest significantly in personalization and leverage all the data available with the right tools to support them on measurement and automation. I think jumping into each one of these to double click with a certain level of detail to help you understand them better. Consumer intelligence. What does consumer intelligence really mean in a mobile first era where the user is on the go, always in control of experiences they want to engage with, and looking for things on demand? This means that they are moving at a fast pace, which brands really have to keep up with on a daily basis. The additional challenge, of course, is the humongous amounts of data that they process, which is, of course, far more of a benefit if looked at in a different fashion and harnessed in the right way to provide data into actionable insights which can help channel their marketing campaigns better. It's important for brands to leverage platforms that work on the back of machine learning and artificial intelligence to condense all of these large data sets into simpler, actionable insights for them, and there are multiple such tools available. It is this that helps the brands build a seamless experience between their online and offline experiences to provide a seamless view to the consumer and thus make it a delightful experience for every engagement. So, how do you really look at consumer intelligence differently? Relook at the way in which you do research. Traditionally, market research was always done in a limited, panel-led fashion through physical interactions, limiting your survey responses to a smaller set of individuals. Additionally, there was also a heavy reliance on stated data, which often at times was not even correct, and it was wrong to sort of take actions based on stated data. So look at mobile as a device where you could actually be engaged with the user on the go in an always on fashion, thus remaining on the pulse of the user at all times and thus adapting your campaigns on an ongoing basis. Secondly, communicate and educate to the users on the value of first party data. Educate them on the value that they're likely to gain if they actually engage in providing their data to you. But be sure that you tell them that you are doing the right things in place, putting in place the right checks and balances, and executing it in a privacy first fashion, because we have seen brands fall through this and face significant backlash as well. Most importantly, whether you're gathering insights in the traditional way or in the new age way, ensure that you're collecting insights about the user, about their behavior across both the physical and the digital world. Build a comprehensive understanding of the user to ensure that you're communicating to them after understanding every aspect of their behavior and not building broken silos of your understanding of the user. The next element is something which needs no introduction to everyone, which is mobile video. Standing second only to TV in terms of consumption, mobile video consumption shot through the roof in 2020, especially in India, where many of us were stuck to our homes with pretty much no alternative means of entertainment but the humongous amount of content that was being thrown at us by OTT and short form video apps. If you as a user are moving towards that, then probably all your consumers are also moving in the same direction. Hence, as a brand, it's important for you to look at mobile video as a mainstream component of your advertising budgets and no longer just an innovation bucket parked for creative excellence and awards, as has been the case for many years. It's completely easy for brands to look at their existing videos for television or digital and employ them on mobile for the best benefit. What's important to keep in mind is that every ad experience of yours should be delivered in a buffer free, mobile first fashion to ensure that users are not left with a bad taste and disrupting their experience while they are about to consume their favorite content. This is made extremely easy by well accepted industry standards, which every partner in the advertising ecosystem understands, such as the video ad serving template or VAST 4.0, which is a standard which makes it seamless for you to translate your video creatives across the ecosystem. The other element to keep in mind for every marketer while you're choosing to invest in mobile video is to look at your partners and channels on the back of ratings that are provided by industry bodies such as Mobile Ratings Council, which helps you ensure that you are investing in channels that provide high viewability and hence high brand recall for you as you start investing into mobile video. Next up is the world of in-app programmatic. This in particular is a space that I truly think is yet to be exploited significantly by marketers in India to the extent of what the Western world has already evolved into. While large brands have gone down this path, India is yet to see the boom in programmatic, and I see this is definitely to come in the next few years. You may all think that the walled gardens can provide as much reach and ROI as you desire. But what you should keep in mind is that walled gardens changes in rules and algorithms could mean that your marketing plans are disrupted overnight if you don't start diversifying your marketing plans. Start investing into the right technology platforms to develop into the programmatic ecosystem, like demand side platforms or DSPs. The popular DSPs that you may have heard of are DV360 by Google, Trade Desk, MediaMath, and even InMobi offers a DSP for advertisers to benefit of. What does a DSP really offer, you may wonder? DSPs provide the benefit of advertisers in terms of real-time tracking, control on spends, and levers that you're actually able to change to make sure that your marketing campaigns are designed to deliver the objectives that you really desire. I think the important one from DSP perspective is the transparency that it provides to you in terms of where your mobile advertising budgets are going across the supply chain. Hence, invest into it with your partners, agencies, or DSPs to ensure that you are actually curating your audiences and apps that your marketing budgets are going into to ensure that your ads are appearing only alongside content that you would consider brand safe and you would want your brand to be associated with and not going around the big bad world of internet. Lastly, in-app is also important as we are moving towards a cookieless future on the mobile web and desktop ecosystem. In-app will provide to be a mechanism through which brands can actually engage with the user on a consistent basis and understand their interactions across the ecosystem in terms of how they're actually engaging with your brand on an ongoing basis. Having gone through all of this, I think the most important element is to ensure that you're focusing significantly on personalization. We've spoken a lot about how mobile provides a significant amount of data at every step of the interaction as far as brands are concerned. This means that you need to invest into the right level of tools, platforms, and software. You've heard of many names across customer data platforms, data management platforms, insights, and all of it. What all of these provide is a simple view for you to consolidate your first, second, and third party data into a 360-degree view of your consumer that really helps you understand your consumers better. In effect, what you're doing is to try and build a unified omni-channel view of your user by leveraging all the tools that are available today across ML and AI to thus build intelligent cohorts and user understanding that will help you build a truly personalized experience for every user. It's important to keep in mind that today users don't consider personalization to be a simple email sent to them with a name and location. Personalization can truly be innovated on by looking at every element of your creative, on ads, or your communication on your earned marketing channels. Thus, putting in place the right levers, checks and balances, and platforms will help you make sure that personalization can make users sing songs about your brands in their social circles and friends, thus bringing in higher and higher recall for you as a brand if you do things right. Now, I will step into a brief video in terms of how in the year 2020, We saw multiple brands leveraging some or all elements of what we've spoken about in terms of delivering some exceptional mobile marketing campaigns.
2020, the year that brought the entire human race to embrace and engage in a different normal. A normal which radically changed the way consumers and brands interacted globally in ways that we never imagined. Stay safe, stay home were the 4 golden words. Consumers spent more time in front of the mobile screen, keeping the economic engines of our society running. Brands responded to this shift through unseen innovation to understand, identify, engage, and acquire consumers. Citizens across India, while still reeling in shock with the onset of the pandemic, were educated to stay home in a fun and engaging way with Kingfisher's innovative stay-at-home campaign. While constrained on mobility, women across Indonesia sensed a new liberation and confidence as they expressed themselves and shared their stories through Dove's My Hair, My Say campaign. At a time when almost every individual was confined to a single location, their home, Mondelez ensured that it took the initiative to deliver joy and happiness at the consumer's doorstep with a swipe and a tap. Misho helped millions of women entrepreneurs across Tier 1, 2, and 3 cities with an opportunity to start their online businesses with zero investment. In this new world order, it is imperative that brands drive real connections with their customers. 2021 is here, and it is time to leverage the power of mobile to connect with your consumers in ways that matter. InMobi, driving real connections.
To summarize, if brands are really looking to achieve mobile marketing maturity, we would highly encourage them to marry their first, second, and third-party data by bringing in different tools that help you build a comprehensive view of the user and thus personalize your experiences to them in an automated fashion. Importantly, invest into the right tools that also help you look at programmatic and mobile video because these are ecosystems that will be in and around for the future, and you need to be leveraging them in the best fashion to ensure that your ROI is being delivered at the best scale. With that, we truly believe that 2021 is going to be the year that many brands in India are going to achieve mobile marketing maturity. And I'm glad to share that InMobi is publishing a comprehensive mobile marketing handbook with numerous insights, only some of which we have covered in the presentation so far, and which you can actually leverage by downloading it at the link shared below. Please feel free to download it, access it, and get back to us if you have any questions. We will all be available to answer your questions by this email, mobilemarketing@inmobi.com, and we will get back to you if you have any further insights that you're looking to collaborate with us on. We at InMobi look forward to partnering with many brands on this journey in 2021 and beyond as India booms into a much bigger mobile marketing economy. Thank you for tuning into the session. I will now hand it over back to Vasuta to take some of the questions that you may all have.
Thanks, Navin. Thanks, Jayesh, for a great walkthrough of the whole presentation and talking about what the era of mobile marketing maturity means for us in 2021. Let me share a few questions that have come in from the audience. Maybe the first one, back to you, Navin, on the first question is how does a social fit into the mobile marketing strategy? Because you talked a little bit, about diversifying spends, looking at mobile marketing as a whole. How do you think social media fits in overall into the mobile marketing strategy?
So I think social media can be looked at in two fashions from what I can see, right? Like you, of course, are earning your own social media presence by building a community of followers, users, likes, whatever you call it, across channels who are engaging with your brand. So leverage it well to build on the content that you're delivering to them, to talk about the brand value and actually showcase how users can continue to engage with the brand. Make sure that you're not just talking about in your face ads. Bring in some interesting content, talk to the users in a way in which they actually understand the brand much better. That's the earned part of social media. I think the paid part is where it starts becoming interesting to say that you also have to look at how you're building on this community that you have to actually start increasing the reach that you have, because social media brings in a great factor of virality that could actually help you increase the reach for every brand that you are actually delivering through your marketing campaigns. So I would think that you really need to look at both fashions. In order to do that, like, you're putting the right content on social media on your earned marketing channels, which is your own community that you're building, and then build on the back of it to keep increasing the base, as a result of which you are actually building your fans and followers that can actually talk about your brand in a much more significant fashion to a larger base of users.
Thanks, Navin. The next question is around voice. I'll direct it to Jayesh. So, Jayesh, the question is, how does voice search fit in with mobile marketing strategy? What are some of the common themes that can be solved using voice search or voice assistance? Jayesh, I think you are on mute.
My bad, sorry. One of the key things that we need to keep note of is that voice search is becoming a dominant form of search. Close to about 30% of overall search now is voice origin. So what it essentially does, there are two, three aspects. So with the advent of smart speakers and more people adopting, the likes of Google Assistant, you will find voice search gaining traction going ahead. And with capabilities around vernacular language search options also increasing, as that builds up, you will have, from an India perspective, it is definitely going to have a mainstay. So key things that we need to keep in mind, voice as a medium. Unlike in the case of video, the advantage of voice is that it is a single messaging channel. In the sense, in the case of video, a person is able to view multiple images at the same time. So your messaging could get lost and viewability becomes an issue. But in the case of voice, our brains are only able to process one singular line of voice, and that is the biggest advantage that voice search or voice assisted or targeting actually brings to the table. The second piece that I would like to talk upon is basically on the kind of reach, the challenge that we have in terms of not being able to communicate something visually, which when I say visually, something in the written format that is easily understood in the voice, especially in the vernacular format. So these two things make voice search and related, focus become. It makes it very important that we all put our efforts behind voice.
Thanks, Jayesh. I think there's one more question which are linked to what Jayesh was talking about, which is the differences in consumer behavior between tier 1, 2 cities and tier 3 cities. I think Jayesh alluded to this a little bit. I think one trend definitely is around, language, where tier 3 cities, there is a predominance of, vernacular content and languages. And we've seen that especially on our lock screen platform, which is Glance, where a lot of the content consumption in tier 3 cities tends to happen through vernacular content. So that's a difference in behavior, that we see. Going back to some of the other questions, Navin, I think there is a question on, what brick and mortar businesses can adapt to in the post-pandemic times using mobile marketing, because you talked a little bit about omni-channel presence, the need to bring offline and online data together, personalization. What do you think brick and mortar businesses can adapt to?
Sure. So I think there's an interesting one, because it's extremely easy for brick and mortar businesses to start digital e-commerce entity today, right? The ecosystem is evolved to the extent of, if you consider Shopify, which is built globally, or a bunch of platforms in India across, like, your Instamojos, Razorpays and the likes, which are enabling bunch of platforms to actually set up a shop and get started with online sales in pretty much a real time. You can actually you can quickly move into a way to engage with the users on a real-time basis if they're looking up your brand. So I think once that surface or entity is set up, what you have to look at is how you're engaging with the audience and leveraging on some of the channels that you have. Like, you may have even SMS data of users who've opted in PII data, phone numbers, which are actually helping users translate depending upon users walking into your store and all of it. In addition, you can use location as a strong signal to look at the catchment area of everyone around you to get them to purchase, given they can't come and visit you in the COVID constrained environment that is today. I think the other benefit of all the ecosystems that have been set up today, not just in the digital world, but in the physical world of enabling delivery as well, is that you can actually step outside location and find real audiences with a niche in a broad scale in digital, and hence reach out to users global, like across the country as well, beyond just your own catchment area. I think we've seen some brands do that really well. So I think to put it in a summary, I think it's important to have like a virtual storefront through which you can actually engage with every user who's looking up your brand online and not losing it to competitors. Secondly, to get started with this, you will have to fall back on marketing information that you may already have that you've collected in your physical era and translating those users into getting them back onto their website. And the last part, of course, is making sure that you're identifying the right audiences who are looking for either retail specific content or your own brand or competitors when you're looking to advertise. Spraying and praying is not going to work, especially if a brand is moving from brick and mortar to digital first, because you really have to go through multiple steps before you get to that maturity stage.
Thanks, Navin. Given the time that we have, a few minutes left, maybe we will just take one or two more questions. So I think one question is around, how important a part of mobile marketing is SMS marketing. Maybe I'll take that quickly and others can jump in. So I think, yes, it continues to be a part, but like we talked about a lot of the things today, right, which is around personalization, the need to have, a clear segmentation of customers and data, the need to also be clear about your video strategy, right? The emergence of in-app programmatic buying. I think all of these sort of trends probably, is something which is going to shape the next year and years to come. So while SMS marketing is a part, I would say that, you should look at things like what is the efficacy and ROI from some of these channels vis-a-vis some of the other channels like, mobile in-app marketing, mobile video, and mobile programmatic. So that's what I'll add on this one. I think just maybe there is a question around, if Naveen, you have a point of view on that, on, what are some of the tools to look at real time, data and insights, because we talked about the consumer intelligence aspect. So any suggestions on that?
Yeah, I think there are multiple tools that provide this today on a close to real time basis, because I think there are too many such platforms even on the social media side. I think some of the names that I do think of are something like a Hootsuite, which actually helps you monitor user engagement on a real time basis. There are other options like Sprout Social, Status Brew, and many others which actually help users track this. There are far more simpler tools that you can leverage. Some mobile automation platforms, marketing automation platforms have also started building some intelligence on the back of this, and you will start understanding this and see an evolution happen as multiple players across the ecosystem start trying to step into adjacent categories. I think it's an important one because people have started looking at earned marketing in a real fashion and look at channels on the social side in a more real-time fashion to make sure that you're addressing both complaints and praise in the right fashion. We've seen many Indian brands do this. Some of the names that I've mentioned are just like the top ones. I'm sure there are many more that you can really fall back on to scale up as you're really investing into this.
Got it. Thanks, Naveen. Thanks, Jayesh. Thank you, everyone. I think that's all the time we had today. Thank you for joining again, and it was a pleasure joining the India Digital Summit today.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you to all the speakers, and thank you to all the delegates. Thank you to our diamond partner, Google, platinum partners, InMobi and Facebook, digital partner, Microsoft.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.